Hello everyone and welcome along to another night of TGP1 Racing. It's season 40 at Silverstone and Hungary. It is rounds 9 and 10 of the season and we are getting ready here for qualifying. Well, we're in qualifying at the moment actually. We've got about, 4.5 minutes to go, something like that? Yes, about 4.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Here, wet to start with, but as you can see on screen now, Kai is on those dry tyres, so it's a drying up session. DRS was just enabled before we went live as well. Quick rundown of the standings before we get into the crunch period of this qualifying session. Cam is currently leading the championship on 108 points. Then we've got Dan the Man in second on 100. Jovial Manatee in third on 94. Jack Hickman in fourth on 87. And then the Soft Cop in fifth on 82 points. So we've got the first of two races. We are here at Silverstone, Great Britain. About 4 minutes to go in this qualifying session. And I'm joined in the commentary box by Jack Craig. How are you doing tonight, Jack?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for a couple of Grand Prix tonight in TGP1, showing the class as well. Calm as well on pole position. It's looking good for the Ferrari in his title fight.
It is indeed. So yeah, we've just got under 4 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Two races tonight, like I've already mentioned. Britain to begin with, 25% race, and then we've got another one of those 35% races this season at Hungary. One shot quality, 35% race distance, so a bit more mix up in the strategy. The only two cars out on track actually doing lap times at the moment are Kai and Cam, I believe, or was Cam on an in lap? Cam's on the inters actually, and he is on an in lap, so just waiting for these guys to come out and do these final runs. A real mix of tyres, it looks like. Just looking across the screen, Cam and Jovial Manatee are the only people on into tyres. I think everyone is switching to those softs now for their final runs in this session, Jack.
Yeah, Speed Kai was purple in Sector 1 and purple in Sector 2, but he spun coming out of the exit of Stowe. So maybe it's just too wet in the final sector to go into that soft. It'll be interesting to see if some of the quicker guys can manage it through there. But yeah, everyone seems to be on the soft tyres apart from a free couple of guys.
Yeah, he is indeed. So we've got everyone is about half the field are on outlaps, half the field in the pits switching to those dry tyres. It is going to be a case of last one across the line, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, absolutely. It's who is the bravest to try to get across that line when it just clicks before 0-0. But it'll be interesting to see Softy on the soft. You expect him to kind of stretch pole, but in a damp track, it could be up to anyone who's the bravest on the brakes and who's not too scared to get on the power nice and early to try to get the quickest lap time before the qualifying's over.
So Wet Lemons is the first guy to jump onto this soft runs and do his final lap time. He's coming through the first corner. That is Abbey Corner. And he heads towards Farm, Village and the loop. Through Village he goes. We've got a ride on board with the Alfa Romeo driver. And how crucial is the exit coming out of the loop, Jack?
It's so crucial. It literally helps you run all the way down to Cop. You want it to be absolutely perfect. And this is not what you're wanting. You want everyone to move to the left and stay out your way so you can get a nice clean run up the Cop.
Yeah, 7/10 quicker than his previous best, but that was on the inter tyres. So this is his first and only lap on these wet, dry tyres. Track looks very damp still, but there's temperature in these slick tyres, and the drivers are getting the pace out of them. Just see if there's any sort of struggle. Little downshift there from Wet Lemons as Cam is out the session. He hasn't got time to go and do another lap. Let's see if anyone else further up the field is on a flying lap. Jonas just starting a flying lap in the Aston Martin, coming through the loop, and Aintree and onto the Wellington straight, Jack.
Absolutely, he's wanting a nice wee slipstream off the Red Bull in front, 1.1. But it's not the improvement he'll be hoping for, but it will put him up a couple of positions on the grid. He'll be hoping for a top 10 start. Wet Lemons been in TGP2 this season, hoping to get some good points in TGP1 tonight as he comes round the penultimate couple of corners. And this is where everyone wants to be brave, but it's just looking so damp and wet round the final corner.
Oh, and big slide. And he improves to 13th place, so only a small improvement there. Everyone else is on getting through the flying laps. 7/10 quicker again, Jodders. That put him up to that put him on third place. It will only move in position as it currently stands. But the main one to watch out for is Softy. He's coming through towards the end of Sector 1. He's the man trying to knock Cam off pole. Cam is not going to set another lap time in this session. And there's the last couple of cars just crossing the line. It's going to be very tight for some drivers. Some drivers might not even get across the line in time.
Absolutely. The guys have left it maybe a wee bit too late. I think a couple of guys will just miss out. And Softy is already
Johners has
doing it.
gone
Johnner
quickest.
sets the fastest lap.
Johners has gone quickest, 31.9. We're on board with Softy as he goes through Cop's corner now. Keeps it all together, and the track is drying out very quickly. Be very interested to see who the last car across the line was there. I think it's one of the Red Bulls, might be Alistair, or one of the Aston Martins. I can't quite tell. I think it might be Alistair. Last car across the line, but 1.2 seconds quicker. Softy goes. He's going to set provisional pole by quite some margin. He's got a whole road of track in front of him. Kai is just behind him as well, so it'll be interesting to see how he does. Just got the final couple of corners, the club chicane to go for Softy now. Just about keeps it tidy. It's very tricky on the exit here. We've seen a lot of drivers squirreling through this exit corner. What's he going to do? Comes across line to 30.4. He is flying. And Wet Lemons has got up into second place, so there really is time in this track now. Dan the man, what's he going to do? He's coming through the club chicane, Jack.
Yeah, down the man round the final corner coming up. What can the Alpine driver say? You'll expect him to be on the front row of the grid in trying conditions, and he is.
He is. He's jumped himself onto the first row. Machine Fishy, Dewar not going any quicker. What can Matt Tibos do? He goes on to pole. Matt Tibos is on to pole with a 30.1. Anyone else on a flying lap? Speed Kai coming through the club chicane. Where could he go? He is in the Ferrari coming around the corner. He goes up to fourth. Well, Alistair, I think, will be the last car across the line. He only goes up to ninth. And Jonas goes up to second. So Softy's not even on the front row of the grid. And it was so hard to keep up with at the end of that qualifying session. But Matt Tibos is your pole sitter here in Silverstone. Those rapidly changing conditions really helped out. And like we said, last man across the line, Jack.
Yeah, he just got it so perfect. He had the best sector 3 of anyone on their final runs there towards the end. And Johners as well in P2, he'll be delighted with that. Now it's going to be, how long can they keep Softy behind? Obviously only 13 laps here in Silverstone. Will we see a new winner this season?
So you get a full rundown of the results. But Matt Tibos in the Haas, former champion in TGP1, has got himself in pole position once again here in Silverstone. A real mix, basically 11th downwards, didn't get a run on those soft tyres. So the grid is Matt Tibos on pole, Jonas joining him on the front row. Then we've got Soft Cop and Jack Hickey on row 2. Speed Kai and Jovial Manatee is row 3. Dan the Man and Court, it's an all Alpine row 4. Wet Lemons, Alistair Bain. Then we have the runners who didn't get a lap time on those soft tyres, and they'll be ruining that. Cam and Machine Fishy. Then we've got Big Boy Dewar and Dom Smith, the Confessor, and then Dan Morris, Mr. Chiapelli, and Jack Pearson, all not setting lap times in that qualifying session. So it's a bit of a jumbled up grid here in Silverstone for 13 laps round the third longest track on the calendar. What we expect to see here, Jack?
Well, if it's a dry race, I'm expecting Softy to be on kind of terrain tracks, and it's just going to be how long can the guys ahead keep him behind. Matt Tibos and Johners, they'll be hoping for a bit of a safety car DRS train, and hopefully a few guys can jump Softy on the start. But Jovial Manatee as well, he's kind of further back than he wants, but he's got some great starts in the F1 game, so I expect him to jump up a few positions off the start as well.
So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see a dry session here for the race. 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit, 13 laps await the drivers. It's going to be softs and mediums for all the drivers around this circuit, I believe. It's just what everyone starts on. Of course, you can pick what tyres you start on this year's game. So it'll be very interesting to see indeed. But I believe mediums may be the point of call, wouldn't you say, Jack?
I think it is quicker to be on the mediums. You much rather be faster at the end than everyone else who's going to be on old mediums. I don't expect too many drivers to start on the softs, but obviously Jovial Manatee this season has thrown some spanners into the work towards the end of the Grand Prix, starting on mediums and going on to hards. I don't think that'll be a strategy that you want to do at Silverstone. Maybe in a Hungary in the 35% race, but I expect a lot of the drivers, especially in the top 10, to start on the mediums.
So the lights are coming on. We've got 3 lights. We've got 4 lights. We have got 5 lights here at Silverstone. And it's lights out and away we go. And it's a very solid start from the front row. Looks clean and tidy so far. Softy gets a beautiful start. Banging wheels with Jonas going through Abbey Corner. He's going to try and get around Jonas. He does. He's into second place. Matt Tibos is still in the lead though. And is Softy going to make a move in towards the village hairpin? No, not quite. Maybe inside of the loop. No, he keeps it all tidy and close together as he heads down towards the Wellington Straight for the first time in this race, Jack.
Absolutely. New Zealand Cam's made up 4 places on the start of this race, and Softy trying to put a bit of pressure on, but there's a Ferrari in the background making a dive bomb move on Jack Hickey, and he's up into P4 as Kai. What a start from him. And Jack Hickey trying to fight it down the inside, pushing the Ferrari as wide as he can without pushing him off into the gravel, and he's got the position.
Yeah, he's maintained the position. Jack Hickey and Kai battling all the way down to Cops. Cops looking to the outside. Is Kai going to do it? No, he's going to have to back out of that and slot him behind once again. This is helping Cam, who's had a phenomenal start. He's gained, 5 positions off that start, and he's already on the tail end of the top 6. There's a car going off miles wide, that looked like there, but I think he just about kept it all together. There's been a bit of trouble further down the field, Chiapelli and Big Boy Dewan, as they've dropped off, but it still maintains as we see the Ferrari drivers swap in position. Cam goes ahead of Kai. I think there's a little bit of team orders there on this first lap.
Yeah, that's a bit like China with Leclerc and Vettel wanting to move out the way. Kai didn't put up too much of a fight. Machine Ireland and Confessor not making the gains. Cam did off the start. Obviously, Matt Tibbles sets the fastest lap. He's almost broken the DRS of Softy, but I expect Softy to pull it back.
Yeah, that's the aim of Tibos. He's going to try and scarper away from Softy if possible. He's a very tall order against Softy. Both former champions, though. So let's see what they can do. John is just about hanging on with him after the first lap. Jack Hickey in 4th, Cam in 5th. Then we have Kai, Jovial Manti, Court, Dan the Man, and Wet Lemons rounding out the top 10 here at Silverstone. But meanwhile, Jack Hickey getting closer and closer to the back of the Aston Martin. Is he going to make a move into Brooklands? He's going to stick it out the inside of the Aston Martin driver, then wheel to wheel, side by side. He's going to try and hang it around the outside of Luffield. Jonas is going to probably force him over to the gravel Wizzy. It's going to just about leave him the racing room. And they're side by side still, heading towards Cops Corner through Woodcote. Cam is looking all over. They're going to be 3 wide into Cops. This is going to end poorly. Jack Hickey thinks better of it, backs out completely and lets them get on with it. And Cam gets the pair of them up into P3.
What an absolute move from New Zealand Cam, and Johners. He'll be wanting to stick with him to try and get on the DRS nice and early to try and fight it back into Stowe. He gets a run out of Marcus and Bex. It's not as good as Cam's, and he just, without the DRS, it's just not going to be enough straight line speed. Wet Lem is defending from Ireland further back, and I tell you what, Dan the Man has started on the hard tyres down in 11th place.
Yeah, he is indeed, but the real battle at the moment is the battle behind Cam. This battle for the final podium spot is really heating up already in this race. Meanwhile, Softy is closing in on the back of Matt Tibos already. He's gaining, and let's have a look what tyres everyone started on as well. And Matt Tibos started on the soft. Most of the field starting on medium tyres, except from Matt Tibos, Wet Lemons, Dan the Man, the Confessor, who pitted early, and Mr. Chiapelli, I think, has already made a stop as well. But we can see Softy getting closer and closer to the back of Matt Tibos. He's going to have the DRS this time round, and he's going to try and make a threat of the Haas driver in front of him.
Yeah, he's going to get the not DRS into Cox, but he'll get a good ramble. Softy. He's got a bit more battery as well, but he's probably going to leave it for the back straight, but he'll get the DRS. Matt Tibbles has had a
Oh, he's wide actually. He's got the move done already. He's got a poor run out that corner, Matt Tibos. Maybe a bit of a slide or something coming out of Luffield, and that has meant Softy is back into the lead of this race, and he's going to try and scarper off now. Matt Tibos down in 2nd, Softy into the lead. Cam is still 3rd. There we got Johners forming a bit of train behind him once again. Jack Hickey and Kai all over the back of him. This battle for P4 on the road.
Yeah, Kai is pushing Jack Hickey through the last couple of corners. He's going to get DRS, but obviously Jack Hickey will get DRS from the car ahead as well. And it's just starting to form that DRS chain we were talking about earlier. Matt Tibbles looking to come back on Softy. It's still around half a second, so he'll be wanting to stick in the DRS and try and make a move into the turn 4.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Matt Tibbles, I think, just had a bit of a slide coming out of Luffield corner, and that was all that Softy needed. The only invitation he needed to go and make a move. So that was that. So Softy will be trying to scarper into the distance. Dom has picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as the battle for 4th rages on in towards Village once again. Lap number 4 of 13 here at Silverstone. As we see, they're actually not too far off the back of Cam either, so that's what's causing it. Is Johners is just close enough to Cam in the DRS to get the DRS, but Jack Hickey is going to try and make a run down the inside into Brooklands once again. He tried it a couple of laps ago. Is he going to be able to make it stick this time round? Yes, he does. Gets the move done up into P4. Johners back down to P5, and that's a good move there from Hickey. Slices it down the inside into Brooklands corner.
Oh, it was absolutely beautiful from Jack Hickey, but Johners just had 9 to defend with. He's got no ERS compared to Jack Hickman, who I've seen over the course of a couple of weeks this season. He's very good using his ERS at the right time. Mark Tibbles, I think, was using ERS and just went on the power a bit too quick, and that cost him to lose the position to Softy. But Kai's doing quite well in 6th, holding on to these guys. Court has just dropped over the DRS, so that's him seeming to be out of this final stage of the podium battle. But Jack Hickey is looking like he's got the pace to catch Cam in P3 for the final podium too.
He's not just got the pace to catch Cam, he's all over the back of Cam. Cam, you can see his light blinking already. He's used a lot of hers early doors in this race. And Jack Hickey has been saving it. And he's going to use that to his advantage, potentially down the Wellington straight this time round. Matt Tibos into the pits. Early stop for him on those soft tyres. Didn't look like it. They were quite giving him the grip he wanted. It gave him the initial run at the start, but didn't give him much else, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah, the softs, personally for me, they seem to just overheat quite quickly around Silverstone, especially in the Sector 2 part of the track. They're just not a nice tyre to be on, but it's just, they're so much quicker than the hards, it's not really worth it. As you can tell, Dan's not making the inroads further back in the grid. Kai now looking to make a move on Johners as well. He's not going to have the speed this time around, but he'll be looking to make a move as Jovial Manty's just past Core further back.
Yeah, we got a train forming. This is second on the road currently, but this is for a net podium as it stands, thanks to Matt Tibos's pit stop. 4-car battle, battling all 4. 3rd place. We got Jovial Manty, a little train further back. Jovial Manty, Court, Wet Lemons, and Machine Fishy all battling over P6 on the road. That'll be a net P7. So a few little squabbles going on throughout the field, and there's even one further down with Alistair Bain. It seems to be everyone's kind of gone into groups of 4 in this race, Jack.
It's just so hard to overtake when you, especially in the DRS straight, as Speed Kai's looking to make a move on Johners round the outside of Stowe. That's a dangerous place. There's not many who are going to give you space around the outside of there, are they?
Yeah, well, he's going to look to the outside of the club chicane. He's trying to hang it around the outside. He isn't going to quite. He's going to try the switch back round the outside. What can we do? This is a horrible camera angle. I think Johners is just about held onto the position. Yes, he has. They're battling nose and tail, squabbling left and right as we see Kai all over the back of the Aston Martin driver here. And we see he's going to hang on, get the DRS and try and get him on the straight on the run down to the Brooklands corner.
Oh, this fantastic car placement, a bit like the real Aston Martin driver Fernando was just defending for his life. It was absolutely beautiful, but he might not have anything to defend with this time around. As you see the blinking red light on the back of the Aston round the outside, he's still going to hold on. He brakes later and he's just placing his car wonderfully to keep the position from the Ferrari.
Yeah, he is. He's making it very difficult for Kai in the Ferrari, the Aston Martin driver, Johners. He was kind of in the way a bit at times last week, but Kai is looking down to the inside of Copse and then thinks better of it. He didn't want to repeat of Verstappen and Hamilton in 2021 there. As we see the drivers still nose to tail go through Maggots and Beckett's one more time. We're on lap number 6 of this race, going through Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, and we have the DRS starting basically halfway through Chapel Corner. Kai going to have the DRS wide open on that Ferrari, and surely he's going to look for a move this time round the outside in towards Stowe Corner. Does he get the move done? Yes, he does. He's up into he's up into P3 on the road as it stands in this race, Kai. As you see him jump into the pits, and in fact everyone's jumping into the pits now.
Yeah, he lost the DRS, Johners, to Jack Hickey defending his position, and it cost him on the back straight, as we've seen as Kai almost absolutely destroyed that rear wing of the Mercedes further back. It'll be interesting to see with the undercut Matt Tibos did, if Softy, there was only 1 second to gap when he boxed, how close they're going to be on track.
It's going to be very close. The undercut is quite powerful on this game, so it'll be very interesting to see where Matt Tibos is compared to the rest of the field. He's just coming through the club chicane now. Where is the rest of the field? Where is Softy in comparison? I think Softy is just about going to maintain the lead, but he's going to jump straight back into that second place where he was before. Yes, Softy maintains the lead. He's actually gapped Matt Tibos quite comfortably. He's gained about a second and a half in that round of stops there. Cam is all over the back of Matt Tibos though. And Matt Tibos is on the harder tyre. He's on that medium tyre. And Cam starting on the medium, going to the softs. And he's going to be red hot and chasing Matt Tibos down.
Yes, and Jack Hickey's got 4.6 seconds to Matt Tibos. So Matt Tibos, if he can keep it clean and not get a penalty, Matt Tibos could be on to stay on the podium. But he'd just be hoping that if Cam does pass him, it'll be nice and quick and these guys don't fight too hard, because Matt Tibos will want to stay on the podium. Obviously a former champion, not had the best of times recently, but look at the speed difference Cam's got coming through top.
Yeah, he is all over the back of him, going through Cop in towards Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel. Once again, DRS right on the exit of Chapel Corner. So it'll be very interesting to see what Cam can do. I think he's definitely close enough to have a good run in towards Stowe. 5-second speeding penalty for Alistair, unfortunately. But meanwhile, further up the field, looking to the outside is Cam in the Ferrari. What can he do? Gets the move done nicely. Gets the move done, slams the door shut on Tibos, and he gains himself up into P2. And now will be hoping to hunt down Softy in the Red Bull in front of him. 2.5 seconds is the gap. Can he claw it? Meanwhile, Jack Hickman all over the back of Speed Kai. This is the battle for potentially P3 on the road.
Yeah, Speed Kai just made the move actually into Stowe. It was a beautiful move. Kai gained so much time in the pit stop. He was a second behind, but he got it down to 3 tenths. And he just had the DRS and a bit of version. It was just a beautiful move round the outside of Stowe. Jack, he didn't really have anything to defend with. But Jovial Manatee and Machine Ireland, they've seemed to caught onto the back of this wee DRS train. So we could have a nice wee 6-way battle for the final step on the podium.
Yeah, this is this would be for P4, Matt Tibos and Cam a little bit further up the road, and Softy is the net race leader, just waiting for Dan the Man, Jack Pearson to make their stops before we get the actual order on your leaderboard. So it's looking like a very great scrap, and Jack Hickman looking to the inside of Woodcote Corner. Poor exit for the Ferrari driver. They're going to be side by side, heading towards Copse Corner. Is he going to make the move? No, he slots back in, and Jollers is just waiting in the wing, waiting for these drivers to make a mistake. He's going to look to the outside of Beckett's Corner. No, he thinks better of it, and he's going to follow him line astern through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel.
Yeah, it's just going to be such a great run. There's going to be so much toll. Speed Kai could be in danger of not losing just one, but a couple of Jack hitting now with the DRS open, looking to go down the inside. Kai doesn't really fight it too hard. As you know, he'll get a nice wee dump of the DRS towards the Wellington straight, but it looks like he's going to try go around the outside of the chicane to make the cut back, and it's just not going to be, not got the speed to get round the position.
Yeah, he hasn't quite got the speed. Meanwhile, Machine Fishing looking all over the back of Johners as well. This 5-car train all battling for P4 on the road. It's going to be very exciting. Meanwhile, the order has shaken out, and Softy has got about a 3-second lead over Cam. Metzovil's in third, and then we've got this gigantic 5-car scrap for 4th place. Jack Hickey, Speed Guy, Johners, Machine Island, and Jovial Manatee all battling for potential 12 points. If you end up at the back of this battle, you're only getting, 5-6 points? So it's a big difference in points.
Yeah, one mistake is going to cost you a nice big chunk. If you make a mistake in this queue, as Jack Hickey is trying so hard to get ahead of the Ferrari. He's got a nice run up to Cox, but he might not want to make the move just yet. Stay in the DRS and make the move into Stowe. But these guys have just been swapping every lap of the race, haven't they? Johners holding on to the back of this queue, and the Williams and Machine Fishy, he's just waiting for his opportunity, nice and patiently, to pounce on any mistakes the guys make ahead.
He is indeed. We've got Johners. Jack Hickey once again going to have the DRS on Kai, looking to the inside, and he's going to get the move done. Yes, he does. Gets himself back up into the front of this queue. He's back up into P4. Kai back down to P5. Johners still lurking in the background, and then we've got Machine Island, and Jovial Manatee is dropping a little bit, but I think that's more him just lurking in the background, maybe saving his earth, letting this group tow him along, and then trying to pounce right at the end of this race.
Well, he is known for a wee late dash for the higher places in the Grand Prix in Australia was one of them. He just sneaked a podium on the last lap from Jack Hickey. Maybe he's got something up his sleeve this time around, the AlphaTauri driver. As we come round the big loop to the run onto the Wellington straight, what can Speed Kai do this time around? Can he get his position back for about the 4th time? This race is looking likely. Jack Hickey not really bothering defending, as he knows he's going to have the DRS and try to get the position back. He's pushed a wee bit wide. Nothing too major, and I don't think the drivers will complain about that.
Yeah, I'm riding on board with John as the Aston Martin driver. Is where the most of the action is, right at the front of this queue. Jack Hickey and Kai. Hickey looking to the inside of Cops. Isn't going to go for the move. He thinks better of it, and that gives Johners once again a nice little run on the way down towards Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Are we going to see another change of position between Kai and Jack Hickey into Stowe Corner? Is Hickey going to go for the move once again? He's going to have the DRS coming out Chapel Corner. The DRS is wide open on that Mercedes. Going to sit in the slipstream of the Ferrari. I think he's actually got a little bit more of a gap than the last couple of laps, Kai. So it's going to be a bit more tricky for Hickey. He's going to stick it. No, he's going to stick behind for the time being. And that is that. Meanwhile, this train is just nose to tail. You can cover them by a blanket, Jack.
Oh, absolutely. It's so close, and they've actually lost 5 tenths this lap. The course we could be getting an extra couple of cars for 12 points in the championship. But that just shows you how competitive and how much pride these guys have. They don't want to finish behind absolutely anyone. Jack Hickey is pushing the diffuser of that Ferrari with a lovely yellow engine cover at the moment round the first sector. Onto the Wellington straight they go with the DRS. It could be a move.
I think the most likely move actually is watching this is Machine Fishy on the back of John as he's going to look to the outside of Brooklands. Jack Hickey up the road going to the inside of Kai. They've swapped positions. Machine Fishy maintains position for the sign beard and Jovial Manti still lurking in the background. Court is gaining hand over fist and he's bringing Wet Lemons and Alistair Bain with him.
Absolutely, these guys are just frothing at the mouth and then catching the back that AlphaTauri driver Jovial Manti, but Jack Hickey finally back past with his one lap. It'll be never mind who's last across the line in qualifying, it's who's going to make the move.
Oh, Machine Fishy's picked up a time penalty. That's a disaster in this battle. That is an absolute disaster. That could put him all the way down to P10 as it stands, as Alistair's got a time penalty as well. Kai looking to the outside at Stowe corner. Can he get the move done? Yes, he does. He gets the move and he's back at the front of this train. Jack Hickey will be trying to get past him once again, as we've got 2 laps remaining in this Grand Prix here at Silverstone.
Yeah, it's going to be who is in P5 on the start of the 13th lap. That's probably who's going to win this wee battle for P4 at the moment. But if you're in the position, would you rather be in P4 or P5 than onto the last lap, Owen?
I think I'd rather be in P5. You kind of can hedge your bets going through the Wellington Straight and then try and get them on the run down to Stowe. They've been swapping positions constantly, these two drivers, Kai and Jack Hickman. It's great to see. Meanwhile, Court is actually all over the back of Jovial Manti now. But Jovial Manti, like I said, I think has been saving his ears, as it's been a bit difficult for Court to get past him on that occasion. Plus, it is the DRS train that is very much forming. Choo choo, we're all aboard the Kai train.
Oh, absolutely. Jack Hickey has got so much ERS. He's got about the same as Jovial Manti. So Kai could be in a spot of bother, because I'm expecting the Mercedes on the final lap to absolutely dunk whatever power is in that engine on the back straight, as you can just see the speed of these guys through Marcus and Betis. They're on the rails, every single one of them. Johners is just as close to Jack Hickey as Jack Hickey is to Kai. Kai trying to break the toe on the ramp, so Jack Hickey not in the toe, maybe just trying to save a bit of tyre life going on to the final lap. As you can see, he broke a wee bit early there, didn't he, the Mercedes driver?
He did indeed. He's maybe teasing what he could do on this final lap. We're on to that last lap now. Softy has crossed the line. He's 4.5 seconds up the road. Cam is about 1.5 seconds in front of Tibos, and he's about 4.5 seconds in front of this gargantuan scrap, battling fourth all the way down to P10? There is 7 cars this battle. So it's quite incredible to see. Let's see what Hickman can do down the Wellington Straight. Close to behind him is Jodders in the Aston Martin. Machine Fishy, he's going to probably drop to the tail end of this group with his penalty. Jovial Manti, Court Gill there as well. Machine Fishy down the inside of Jodders, gets the move done, does he? No, not quite. They're still side by side, heading round Luffield corner. He's going to try and hang it round the outside. Jodders is going to force him over to the edge of the circuit, and they're still going to be side by side going on the run down to Woodcote. Jack Hickey looking for a move further up. Can he get the move done? No, he thinks better of it. Machine Fishy all over the back of Johners. We don't know where to look in this battle. Machine Fishy is going to try and move into Maggots and Beckett's. No, not quite. We're going to see what happens here as they run through this section of corners for the final time in this race. Round they go. Softy is just entering Stowe corner, but we've got to focus on this battle. We don't know where it's going to go. Jack Hickey, can he get the move done? He's going to go to the inside Stowe corner, get the move done. Yes, he does. He goes up into P4, gets the move done, and they've made contact. They're both off, and Johners is going to go past. He's up into P4. Softy has won the race, but we don't need to care about that. Johners is up into P4, Machine Fishy up into P6, and it's all gone disastrously wrong for Kieran and Jack Hickman, as Johners finishes P4, Jovial Manti's P5, and it all just went seriously wrong at the end. Jack Hickey facing the wrong way, coming out of the exit of Stowe corner. Kai drops to basically the middle of that pack, and I didn't know where to look in the end of that battle. And Softy won the race, but All the carnage was in that group where all the action was, basically the whole second half of the race.
Oh, it was absolutely crazy, the final lap. I think Kai did have the right to hold it round the outside. They were alongside each other going into the corner, so he was just trying to hold off his position. It just looked like an unfortunate tangle, but it was teasing, wasn't it, that final lap? And who would have thought that Johners out of the two guys was going to sneak home in P4? Jack Hickey, though, definitely not going to be happy as New Zealand Cam picks up the game's driver of the day. What a drive from New Zealand Cam. Started further back in the grid. I think it was 11th, all the way up into P2.
So there he is, Softy, on the podium, celebrating another victory this season in TGB1. We didn't really see much of him after that second, once we got into that second stanza of the race, because it was all carnage further up the field. As we see the British driver celebrating, it's a Red Bull on top of the podium. That hasn't been familiar at all this season. Jesus Christ. As we see the Red Bull team celebrating that victory. Haas in second with Matt Tibos and Cam picking up Matt Tibos in third, Cam in second, sorry. I'll correct myself there. But here is the full results here at Silverstone. Softy wins the race for Red Bull, followed by Cam in second. Then we've got Matt Tibos in first. Johners ended up coming fourth in that battle. That gargantuan scrap for about 6-7 cars. Then we've got Jovial Manti in fifth. Court in sixth. Then we've got Wet Lemons in seventh. Speed Kai finishing eighth. He was leading that battle most of the way through that. Machine Fishy with his 3-second time penalty I think he finished fifth on the road, but drops all the way back down to ninth thanks to that penalty. Dan the Man in 10th. Then we've got Jack Hickey in 11th. Big Boy Druin in 12th. Jack Pearson picking up his first points of the season. And Alistair Bain rounding out the points in 14th. Then we have Dan Morris in 15th. Luca in 16th. Dom Smith in 17th. Then we have the Confessor in 18th. That was a crazy race, Jack, wasn't it?
Oh, it's the standard you expect from TGV1, isn't it? It's just crazy. It was like an esports race. Everyone seemed to be within half a second or less. It was just great races until that final instant at the end. But Cam, those two wins earlier on in the season are just keeping him in that title fight, isn't it? Softy's so quick. It's just like he's driving a train at the moment. But Johners, I think, will be quite happy with P4 after watching those guys have a wee squabble on the final lap.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to go for the 35% distance race here in Hungary. It's going to be a one-shot qualifying for the drivers as well. I think there was a couple of disconnections right at the end of that race. So we'll wait for them to rejoin. But that was a thrilling race from basically start to finish. Kind of simmered away. It was decent at the start, but then second half of the race, that battle for P4 just boom. And the dynamite was lit, the touch paper was lit, whatever you want to say, and everything just kicked off after that. So, what are your thoughts going into Hungary?
I think this is going to be another softy, dominant performance out in front. He's pretty much the Max Verstappen at HV, isn't he? I think he'll streak away, but I expect everyone else to be quite close. Calm, obviously, if he can get his qualifying right, I think Calm could be up there to challenge Softy, but anyone from third down the way, absolutely everyone can get on that final step of the podium, can't they? Everyone's so similarly paced, so quick. It's just like Dan the Man is on the podium one race and then he's down in 10th the next. It's just crazy what the drivers can throw up at races.
Yep, so 25 laps is the race distance round Hungary. I was waiting for that to pop up to know how many laps the actual race was. One shot qualifying, and there's definitely going to be a variance in strategy. Plus, there is safety cars enabled in 35%, I believe, as well. So that is another piece of the jigsaw to worry about. I'm just going to double check that safety cars are enabled. Yes, they are. Safety cars are enabled for 35%. I was double checking that. And yep, so unlike the 25% distance races, 25% distance, no safety cars. And then we have safety cars in the 35 to make it a little bit more interesting. There's a bit more strategy in these 35% races, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I've done a few switch sessions with one of the slower Red Bull drivers, the Czech Latifi, to find out what kind of the strategy is. The hard tyres, actually, obviously, you don't want to be on them if they're safety cars, but they were pretty quick towards the end of the stint. It might actually be worth a soft to hard strategy if, obviously, there is no safety cars. You're kind of putting your strategy in other drivers if you're going on to the hards, but I do expect one or two safety cars, especially if everyone's going to be as close as they were on that last lap. But this is one of the tracks where we might see just a couple of moves into turn 1 and turn 2, but the DRS trains are quite crazy around here, aren't they?
They are indeed. So, just waiting for the drivers to get going for this qualifying session, getting ready to go. I think they're all having a bit of a breather after that manic race at Silverstone, especially that middle group of drivers. So I think we're just waiting for one more. Just wait, I think. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. We're just waiting for. I think reserve Lewis Craig has jumped into the session instead of Jovial Manti, it appears, for this race. I know Jovial Manti is coming back. Don't know where he's gone. Probably doing his hair for the delivery boy. As we see, as we see ourselves get ready for the one-shot qualifying. You good to take us through a lap of this circuit? We're going to ride on board with, well, last race winner Softy, probably favourite for pole as well, and just see what he does on this lap.
Absolutely. One-shot qualifying, one of my favourite things. I absolutely love it for some reason. I seem to be a lot quicker in one-shot quali. I think I'm one of the only people in TGP2 who run one-shot quali every week. That's not invalidated their lap. It can definitely throw up some surprises in the order, and Hungary is going to be one of those tracks where I expect a few to maybe get caught out with the track limits, especially with turn 4, I believe, at the top of the hill, the fast left-hander. I expect a few to get caught out there.
Yeah, it is going to be probably an issue indeed. So, one-shot qualifying here at Hungary, 14 turns, 2.7 miles this circuit here, just out about, I think it's about 12 miles outside Budapest, so not far away from the city. You can get to the circuit by train, I believe. So, I'd be very interested to see. We're just waiting for the drivers to get ready for that single qualifying lap here at the Hungary ring. Hopefully, we can see it's a dry one-shot quali. We'll be interested to see what the weather throws up for the wet race. For the wet race, I've predicted the future there, apparently.
Well, hopefully there's no dodgy weather like when Lewis Hamilton was the only man on the grid. Maybe if Softy did that, it might spice up the race a bit more to see how quick he can get up the grid.
Yeah, it would spice it up early doors, but the way it's been this season, when Softy's competed, he charges his way through the field. There's only been one race where he's actually competed and hasn't won it. I've got to try and find Softy now, so that's going to be fun. Right, where is he? There he is. Spectate. We're going right on board, so take us through a lap of the track on board the Red Bull driver.
Softy now coming up into turn 2. You want to take this as fast as you can, as a higher gear as you can. As you can see Softy in gear 3, now to the swoop-in right-hander, using all the curb he can on the entry, none on the exit, trying to get as much speed as he possibly can. Softy, you don't expect him to invalidate his lap around turn 4, avoiding the curb on the right-hand side as much as he can to not spin the car into the chicane. Takes it nice and perfect, not touching the big bumps on the right-hand side of the curb, and it's just looking perfect from Softy at the moment. Also behind the Confessor, who's not really been in the title hunt this season, coming around this foot in the right-hander now. We'll see what Softy can do in the final sector to try and steal pole position away from the Confessor, but the Confessor's been in top spot all session long. Softy now round the penultimate corner, using the pit lane. Obviously don't invalidate your lap if you go into the pit lane there. A nice entry into the final turn opens up the DRS, and it's looking like P2 for Softy.
It was P2. The Confessor on pole in the McLaren, making up for his disastrous Silverstone DNF in that race, but he's got pole to redeem himself for the 35% distance, 25 lap race round Hungary. So the Confessor is on pole, followed by Softcop. Then we've got Cam in third and Jovial Manti in fourth. Machine Fishy in fifth and Jack Hickey in sixth. Big Boy Duran and Matt Tibos seventh and eighth. Kai and Lewis Craig ninth and 10th. They've got Dan the Man Jonas, Court, Dom Smith in 14th. Then we've got Alistair in 15th, Mr. Chiapelli in 16th, Dan Morris in 17th, Wet Lemons in 18th, and Jack Pearson rounding out the field in 19th. So Any final thoughts going into this Grand Prix?
Lewis Craig can get promoted to TGP1. That's the final thoughts going into the next season. But yeah, finally we see the Confessor though up at the front. He was 3 tenths ahead of Softy. Maybe we will get that battle that Softy hasn't been having much this season. Confessor, Calm and Softy, the front three. This could be a spicy 25 laps around the Hungaroring.
It could be a very spicy 25 laps indeed. So, just getting ready to go here at the circuit Hungaroring just outside Budapest in Hungary. It's round 10 of the season. It's another 35% distance race for the drivers to come up with. It is the third of 5 races at 35% distance for the drivers to tackle this season. And the drivers are just making their final preparations ready to go for the race here at Hungary.
Couple of pad drivers up at the front, Calm and Confessor. It's nice to see that the guys on the wheels at the top are getting a wee nice challenge from people that are much faster than me and the controller. Confessor obviously not having a dominant season like he did last year. How do you think that's happened? Just over the game, it's just everyone seems to pick up their pace.
Yeah, different game as we see ourselves getting ready for 3, 4, 5 red lights here at Hungaroring. It's lights out and away we go. And it looks like a solid start from the front row. No major squabbling there. Jovial Manti once again getting a good start, but side by side Softy, the Confessor, heading down towards turn 1. This Confessor's going to try and hang it around the outside. Can he do it? No, the Confessor's been squeezed onto the curb by Softy, and Softy takes the lead of the race. We've got Machine Fishy up into third, Jovial Manti down to fourth, and Cam in fifth place as they head round turn number 2 for the first time in this race. Confessor down in second place. Machine Fishy all over the back of him in that Williams car. And there's a few dices further back. Big slide there from one of the Hasses right near the tail end of the field, I believe. I think that was Lewis Craig. As we see a massive slide and he's dropped to the tail end of this field as we see them head into the chicane for the first time. Softy, the Confessor, Machine Fishy, Jovial Manti and Cam is your top 5, Jack.
Yeah, Cam had a disastrous start. He just didn't get off the line as quick as everyone else. And Softy, you've seen the respect he gave the Confessor for the speed. He pushed him right out of the way. He didn't want nothing to do with battling the Confessor up to turn 4, did he? There's a couple of guys making up positions further back. The Machine Fishy, he's going to hope to stick to the back of these two and try to challenge them. Everyone in the top 8 on the medium tyres, a couple of guys on the hards as well further back.
Yeah, a lot of people using the medium tyres to begin with. It gives them that flexibility on strategy, whether to go to the hards or the softs, depending on how the tyre wear is going. Cam looking closer and closer to the back of Jovial Manti, maybe making a move up the inside in towards turn number 1. Gets it down the inside. Does he make the move stick? Yes, he does. Jovial Manti knows it's fairly early in this race. Lets him have the position for the time being, and he's down to P5. Cam up into P4.
Mr. Giapelli further back as well made a lovely move on speed. Jovial Manti, didn't really have much of a defence there, did he? Cam probably quicker, just had a pretty bad start. But yeah, Softy almost broken the DRS already. Is Softy just showing how much pace he does have over the field. But New Zealand Cam now, he's going to be charging after that Williams to get the final step on the podium.
Yes, he is indeed. Maybe Softy's pacing himself a little bit in these early stages, just stretching it out so he breaks the DRS, but not enough where he ruins his tyres. Cam is still in P4, and there's battles going on further down the field. Kai all over the back of Mr. Giapelli. There's a yellow flag, and I think it's Lewis Craig once again having a bit of an issue further down the field as we see this battle for P8 on the road. These two soft tyre runners, top 2 soft tyre runners in the field here, so they'll be making a fairly early pit stop in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, as we come round the final corner now, Jack Hickey is the closest to anyone on the track. Looking to make a move actually, Cam closing in on Machine Island, but not enough to make the move, and everyone just seems to be a bit too close. With Speed Kai now actually down the inside of Giapelli, trying to do what Giapelli did to him on the previous tour of the circuit. As Speed Kai, nice position. I think Giapelli's lost a place.
Yeah, he's lost 2 places. He's lost place Dan the Man as well. He's dropped some in the middle of that trade, and Jollers is right at the back of that trade. He loves being a little train, Jollers, does he, in races tonight so far. He was in that big train battling for P4 in Silverstone, and he finds himself in another gaggle of about 4 or 5 cars once again, as he is currently running down in P11. This is the battle for P8. Further up the field, Jack Hickey is getting closer and closer to the back of Jovial Manti, and Cav is actually getting closer and closer to the back of Machine Fishy. So it'll be interested to see what he can do once we get to the DRS state. We're going to ride on board with the Ferrari driver, Jack.
Absolutely calm, just keeping under the half a second gap. But Machine Ireland's lost it coming in. I don't know what corner that is with Machine Ireland.
He's lost it coming out the exit at 12.
Yeah,
he's struggling again. He's really struggling on those tyres, Machine Fishy, in that Williams. As he's sliding out of 12, sliding out of 13. Cam is going to be thinking, oh, here comes my chances. He's sliding again out of 14. Makes it very easy for Cam. Cam goes up into P3. Machine Fishy back down to P4, but he's going to have a second bite of the cherry, I think. Let's see. I can't remember how the DRS works. No, Cam gets 2 bites of the cherry, so he could extend it with the DRS on the exit. So he's up into P3. Machine Fishy back it down to P4. Jack Hickey all over the back of Jovial Manti, and Big Boy Jewett is in that gaggle as well. This is 5th, 6th and 7th, all on those medium tyres.
Yeah, Jovial Manti doesn't look like he's got any wings in that car. I think he closed the gap so much in the final moments of sector 3, which just sailed away on the straight, starting to follow the lap down. The man's having to 8th place as well now, going to try and catch up to this band of cars. But Machine Ireland, though, he's holding on to Cam this time around.
Oh, I hope so, because he had a couple of horrendous corners before that. Machine Fishy tried to hold on to the car, and I think that just gave Cam such an opportunity on that main straight. The fact that he was struggling so much for traction in those final few corners of the lap. But I think he is starting to drop back a little bit. He's just really struggling for traction. I think that's the big issue. Meanwhile, Jack Hickey riding on board with the Mercedes driver, getting closer and closer to the back of Jovial Manti, coming on to lap number 5 of this race. Going to swing it round turn 14. He's going to have the DRS, but is he going to be able to make the move on Jovial Manti going into turn 1? He's closing. Is he going to be close enough? I don't think he is. It's going to be a long lunge, and no, he thinks better of it. Maybe a move into turn 2 if he can get a good exit. DRS wide open again. Big slide, actually, and that's going to cost him an opportunity there. Big Boy Jewett looking in the background. Is he going to be able to make a move? No, and they stay line astern. About 5th, 6th and 7th stay as they are as they head through turn number 3.
Johners and Giapelli are side by side going through turn 3. That could be a disaster as they just give each other enough space. And I tell you what, Johners is like the bait on a fish hook. He just loves waiting in the back of them queues for some moments to happen. That was so close to a disaster.
Yeah, he started on those hard tyres as well, and he's got Mr. Chiapelli in front of him on the softs. So all those softs already starting to fall away for Chiapelli as those hard tyre shod Johners all over the back of him now. Meanwhile, battle further up as well between the other Aston Martin, the Mercedes, and Jovial Manti in the AlphaTauri. Is going on for round number 3 this time round. Head down the main straight. Problem this circuit, there is only really 2 overtaking opportunities, isn't there, Jack?
Yeah, and you're total screwed if you're the car in front on the first DRS straight, because the car behind around the final corner gets the DRS on the second DRS straight, which makes no sense to me. But this time around, Jack Hickey is a lot closer and has a lot more battery to make the move. He's already looking down the inside, and the AlphaTauri just has nothing to defend with. But
could try hang it round the outside, but no, unable to. Jack Hickey gets the position. He puts himself up into P5, and Jovial Manti loses yet another position in this Grand Prix. Machine Fishy is still hanging on to the back of Cam, but he's not really challenging him for any position. Johners and Chiapelli are going at it again further down the field. I think Johners has finally got the move done, and he's put himself up into P10. Alistair looking at the back of Chiapelli. This is a battle for 11th and 12th. And there's battles heading all the way down the field. Kai looking closer and closer to the back of Dan the Man now. But the main battle on circuit is, Duran actually looking all over the back of Jovial Manti. He wants to follow Jack Hickman through and keep up with him in this Grand Prix. And Jovial Manti qualified really well, but is really struggling for race pace.
Kind of been a theme over the season, hasn't it? He's just so good off the start and so good in quality, but just struggles with that race pace. And the Aston Martins, they like a sneaky wee move. They're just waiting to see what can happen in the Grand Prix. But Big Boy Ewan, he's keeping up in the DRS, and expect if he can make a move later on before the pit stops, he'll be happy. But Jovial Manti just got so much straight line speed, and Speed Kai and that on the softs, they'll be wanting them to go another lap before boxing onto the medium tyres.
Yeah, he will be indeed. So Duran couldn't make the move into turn 1. I think the fact that Jovial Manti has got the DRS on Jack Hickey is helping him out massively. Meanwhile, further down the field, any more battles kind of brewing? I think everyone's kind of calmed down a bit. I think the only other real battle going on at the moment is Jack Pearson and Dom Smith battling over the final points paying positions, and they've got Dan Morris and Wet Lemons all over the back of him as well. So Jack Pearson already picking up a penalty in this race. Shock for everyone involved. Seeing Jack Pearson with a penalty after 7 laps, the only driver with a penalty. As we see Dom Smith all over the back of him, and yeah, this 4-car train, but we're going to go further back up the field. Duran just starting to lose touch a little bit, I think, with Jovial Manti.
Just ever so slightly, he had a wee bit of a moment coming out of the chicane, did the Aston, that's why he just dropped a couple of attempts back, but nothing too major. He's going to get the DRS, but these guys they're just practically the same. Gap Jovial Manti is to Jack Hickey. The DRS is just, it's not powerful enough around here to make the moves. The straight's actually not that long, the start-finish straight, to make.
And Kai's in, he's on those soft tyres, and he's the first person to box in this race. I presume he'll be going onto those hard tyres. We'll have to keep an eye on that, because I think it would be a big stretch to get those mediums to the end. What are we talking, 18 laps on those mediums? That is a long old way.
You're wanting, the softs can only go around 8 laps. He's on to the hard tyres this week, Kai. If you're on the softs and you want to go to mediums, you kind of need to get to lap 9, lap 10, but it is a big ask to go soft to medium around here.
Yeah, I think it is. I think he would have gone on to those hard tyres, but he's the first person to box, rejoins down in 17th place. Be interesting to see where he shakes out on that fresh rubber, and as he's got a little bit of fresh track as well to burn up as well, so could work out quite nicely for him. Meanwhile, this train continues on, and the Confessor is still just about hanging on to the back of Softy. It's about a second. It gapped itself to about a second right at the start, but it's maintained about that. Jack Pearson picking up yet another time penalty. Shock, as we see ourselves round this trace. Cam about a second ahead of Machine Fishy. That's 3rd and 4th, and then we got this battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Between Jack Hickey, Jovial Manti and Big Boy Duran. It's Jovial Manti just about lurking in the background. We've got Dan the Man in 8th, John is in 9th, and then Alistair Bain rounding out the top 10 in this Grand Prix. So, no real position swapping like we were getting. It's a bit more of a tense affair here in Hungary, wouldn't you say, Jack?
Yeah, everyone's kind of got the same gap around each other. The tyres obviously wearing at the same rate. Softy, I think, is managing that gap. He seems to only be using the RS on the start-finish straight. But yes, I think Softy... Oh, Softy's almost had a spin. It looked like maybe a bit of lag. Actually, the Confessor's caught a couple of seconds. That might have been a wee scary moment coming up the hill for the soft cop.
Yeah, he doesn't want that. He's definitely lost a couple of attempts on this lap to the Confessor. The Confessor is now in the DRS of the soft cop. So let's see if he can keep in that DRS heading down the main straight. He's probably not going to be close enough to make a move this time round, but getting back in that DRS is going to be quite crucial for the Confessor's Grand Prix.
And maybe a wee bit of encouragement towards the McLaren driver to just stick with Softy and make the move. Big Boy Ewan is a lot closer to Jovial Manti this time around than he has been any other time. It could be a move into turn 1 now for the number 7 Aston Martin. He's going to open up the DRS, give him an extra 12 kilometres an hour, but you can just see the straight line speed in the AlphaTauri with the DRS.
He's going to have to stick it up the inside. Is he going to go for it? Yes, he does. Pushes him a little bit wide, pushes Jovial Manti to the exit curve. A bit of a slide on the exit. Of course, Jovial Manti's going to have DRS as well. He's going to try and hang it around the outside turn number 2, and he thinks better of it. He has to back out of that move for the time being. Maybe flicks it through 3. They're going to be on the run up to turn number 4 now. Is he going to be able to get close enough? No, he isn't. He has to settle in around this section and wait another lap before he can have an opportunity at the AlphaTauri driver.
Absolutely, it was good defending from Jovial Manti. He just braked so much later than the Aston Martin. Softy had another moment going into the chicane, and the gap went down to 5 tenths momentarily. And Softy just throwing signs of encouragement to the McLaren driver, maybe teasing him a wee bit. But Confessor's doing a good job to just keep that second gap, isn't he?
He is indeed. Duran once again all over the back of Jovial Manti. He's going to be sick of the sight of that AlphaTauri by the end of this Grand Prix, I reckon. He's already been stuck behind it basically since the start. He's not really moving forward. You can see Jack Hickey's actually just about keeping Jovial Manti in his DRS, which is helping him out massively. It'd be really helpful for Big Boy Druid if Jack Hickey actually pulled away a plus a second. It meant Joe Romanti wouldn't be getting the DRS anymore and wouldn't be getting towed along by the Mercedes driver. But he's getting very close here. He's going to maybe look for a move at turn number 2. No, not this time round.
Jack Hickey's saving that ERS. He's almost got a full battery. Maybe he's saving that for an in-lap and out-lap for the undercut on Machine Ireland. Obviously 2 seconds. It probably won't overtake the Williams, but he could definitely close that gap, definitely on an undercut. A big boy Ewan, he's not going to be appreciating the help Jack Hickey's maybe unintentionally given to Jovial Man.
No, he definitely isn't indeed. Meanwhile, there's no real other battles on the track apart from Dom Smith all over the back of Mr. Chiapelli. This is the battle for 11th and 12th. Still on those soft tyres, Mr. Chiapelli. They must be pretty shot by now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, they definitely are going to be, but maybe he's just waiting for that safety car, or he's going on to the mediums. I do think now Luca could box and make it to the mediums, definitely on to the end, but maybe he's just waiting for that safety car, get onto the mediums in P11. Well, everyone else is probably, if the safety car came out this or the next lap, would need to go onto the hard tyres, wouldn't they? Could be a wee bit of mind games from Luca.
Yeah, Luca, if there's a safety car right about now, he's in the pound seat. I think he's boxing this time round. Yes, he is. It'll be interesting to see what he goes on. I believe he would go on to the medium tyres, but no one else has yet to made a pit stop in this race yet, as we see. Softy still leading by about a second over the Confessor. There's about 3 seconds further back to Cam. Machine Fishy 2.5 seconds behind Cam. And then Jack Hickey. This trade of Jack Hickey, Jovial Matic, Big Boy Druid, just been nose to tail basically since about lap 2 or 3. 10 laps they've been going strong now, and they'll be hoping to mix it up a little bit once the pit stop cycle starts for these drivers, as we're getting pretty close to the pit stop window now for these guys, wouldn't you say?
For the mediums, yeah, we're about 3 laps away from 4 laps, I think, before we see any mediums boxing for soft tyres. Speed Kai obviously boxed earlier for the hard tyres. He's caught up to the back of the Alfa Romeos, but he's not made the inroads I expected him to make on clean air as Softy boxes.
Softy has boxed. He's the first of the leaders to pit. Anyone else going to follow him? Machine Fishy follows him in as well. So it'll be interesting to see what tyres these drivers go on to. We're just going to keep that up on the screen now. See the tyres. Softy has gone onto the hards. Kai is on the hard tyres. And Mr. Chiapelli did go to those medium tyres. So he was stretching those softs out to try and jump onto the mediums rather than and avoid using those hard tyres. So it's a very interesting mix of tyres in this Grand Prix now.
Yeah, look, maybe he had a bit of pain towards the end of the stint. He's going to have a really good start to this stint, but by the time the stint ends, it's going to be very painful. I think Bono at the Mercedes garage making look a bit of a hard strategy to pull off, but hopefully he can make up a few positions at the early point of the stint.
Yeah, so we see this battle of Jack Hickey, Jovial Munty, Big Boy Druid still chugging along. Dan the Man just lurking in the background, about 2 seconds back. So this field is fairly sedate, especially by Silverstone standards, wouldn't you say?
All the gaps seem to be kind of the same. It's just there's not many overtaking places as Johners moved out of the way softly after holding that for a second and a half. But Big Boy Ewan, he's so close to the AlphaTauri, he just can't get past because Jack Hickey's doing a favour.
Hickey's in.
Jack Hickey into the pits. I think Big Boy Ewan's going to be absolutely delighted at the sight of that, don't you think?
Yeah, I think he definitely will. He's going to be closest he's ever been. But once again, that straight line speed of that AlphaTauri is something else. It's got must already be in 2024 spec or something, copying the Red Bull. That straight line speed is something else with the DRS open.
Well, maybe we've got another racing point incident. Maybe we need to have a wee investigation to see what's going on there, as everyone seems to be boxing now or having battles further back. Jack Hickey is behind Speed Kai, but obviously 6 laps fresher tyres.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if any of this group stretch this stint out on the medium tyres and go onto the sauce. Most people who've boxed already have now gone onto the hard tyres, or in the case of Mr. Chiapelli, gone onto the mediums, but majority of field have jumped onto those medium tyres now, or hard tyres. They've gone to the harder compound than they were previously on. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now. Big Boy Duran still about 4 attempts behind Jovial Manatee, and Jovial Manatee is not going to have the DRS this time round to help him out on this main straight. Confessor boxes. Be very interesting to see where he comes out compared to Softy. Jovial Manatee boxes as well, so he'll be going on to the hard tyres, and so does Cam. And Dan the Man, I believe, stays out as well. Yes. Confessor's gone onto the soft tyres, so has Cam. So
you're going to need it, because Confessor's going to be closer to Machine Fishy than Softy, I believe, when this all shakes out. But them guys, 10 laps, it's going to be quite difficult to make them go to the end.
Well, it's going to be 11. It's 11 racing laps for those soft tyre runners. It's going to be a big stretch for those guys. It's about what Luca did on the softs, though. So there's encouragement there for these guys, as the Confessor is all over the back of John as he started on those hard tyres. And John is, I think, just about getting out of the way for the Confessor and letting him get on with his race.
Yeah, different strategies. There's no point risking a tango when Confessor's going to be so much quicker during the middle part of that lap. And yeah, the gap's come from 1 second to 5. I think that extra 2 laps on the medium, obviously it will work out on the soft bit. Just bridge the gap a wee bit as Mark Table sets a 17.5 for the fastest lap of the race.
He does indeed, and Cam on those soft tyres is now very much closer to the back of Machine Fishy as well. I think they were the other way around before the stop. I can't remember. Cam and Machine Fishy. I think they were the other side round.
Fishy's jumped him,
yeah, he has. I think pitting those 2 extra laps early has meant he jumped him, but Cam gonna have the DRS now. He's gonna try and find his way past. There's a 2-step compounding difference. He's going to look to the outside in towards turn number 1. The Ferrari driver going to try and hang it around the outside. They've made contact, and Fishy's basically forced him off the circuit there. He's going to let him go, I think, after forcing him off the circuit. And Cam is up into the P3. Machine Fishy back down to P4.
Yeah, I think that was the right thing to do from Machine Fishy. He knew he made a wee bit of a mistake, just like broke himself, and gave him position back. It was fair, but yeah, Johners, he's hanging on to them hard tyres, isn't he? He's wanting those soft to be as fresh as they possibly can, and Softy's bridged the gap an extra 1.8 seconds on those hard tyres.
Yeah, it was the only drivers that haven't made a pit stop yet in this race are Johners and Dan Morris. The court's been on those hards for 13 laps, so I think there's some problem further up for him. As we see, Cam has actually got past the Confessor. I'm not sure what happened there, but Cam has now actually got in front of the Confessor, and Cam is up into P2, and he's going to try and chase down Softy on those soft tyres. Kai is the big winner thanks to stopping so early. He's on those hard tyres, and he's jumped himself up into P6, which will be a net P5.
Confessor's got a problem. He's losing so much time.
He is. He's struggling. Really struggling for some reason. Machine Fishy all over the back of him as well. He's really dropping time, hand over fist. Meanwhile, Jack Hickey looking to the inside of Kai, down towards turn number 1. They don't want to repeat what they did in Silverstone, and I think he just about gets the move done. He's got what, 6 lap newer tyres, Jack Hickey, so a bit more clean and cut this time round as he gets the position up into P6. Be a net P5 once Johners finally boxes on those hard tyres. I think he'll be definitely going to the softs for the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely, and he'll be looking to sneak that fastest lap of the Grand Prix. I think the Confessor's fixed out whatever issues he's had. He's now bridged the gap to Machine Ireland again, but Speed Kai, he's just going to try hold on to the back of the Mercedes to get P6 back.
Yeah, field is fairly spread out now, I'd say. The only real battle on the circuit is actually Dom Smith and Lewis Craig battling over the final points paying position as it stands here in Hungary. Going to ride on board with the McLaren driver battling for the final point, but these are the closest 2 drivers on the circuit as we stand. So on lap 18 of this race, Jack Pearson has picked up another 3-second time penalty. Matt Tibos picking up a 3-second time penalty, and Confessor's set the fastest lap. We've got a virtual safety car here in this race. Not entirely sure what for, but we have got a virtual safety car. So that's actually going to help out Johners quite humbly. No, it isn't. He's past the pit lane entrance. That is a disaster for Johners. That was the perfect time for him to box. He would have gained so many places, but no. He's had to stay out, unfortunately. I think he just had gone past the pit entrance as the virtual safety car had come out, which is a disaster for him. He's going to hope it stays out a little while, this virtual safety car, to give him any chance of making that strategy work, I think now. I think, who else has pitted? Court has pitted and gone onto the soft tyres. Jack Pearson is out the race. He's DNF'd. What a surprise there. As we see ourselves under a virtual safety car here in Hungary on lap 18 of this race. So I'm not entirely sure what the virtual safety car was for, but some drivers have chose to box. Lewis Craig boxed under it, Court boxed under it, Chiapelli boxed under it.
Jack Pearson was actually nearing disqualification. He had that many penalties towards his retirement of the Grand Prix there.
It's a long old virtual safety car as well. It's been out over nearly a lap now. Is Johners going to box this time? No, it's just come in as he gets round to the pit lane. I think he's going to box anyway. No, he isn't. That is a bit of a disaster for Johners. I think he'd just driven past the pit lane entrance when that came out, unfortunately for him, Jack.
Yeah, and Big Boy Ewan's got such a good exit on the final corner, and he's already past Speed Kai before we've even got to turn number one. And Jack Hickey, as we thought, was just ahead of Johners. Their Johners, yeah, he's making them hards not very happy.
Yeah, Speed Car definitely going backwards in this race on those hard tyres. He's been on them 11 laps already, and he's got another 7 to go on those hard tyres. So it's going to be a tough ask. Drivers like Jovial Manti, Dan the Man's actually flying on those soft tyres. He's all over the back of Jovial Manti in the battle for 9th and 10th, which could soon be a battle for 8th place.
Yeah, Dan the Man flying on those fresh soft. Jovial Manti on the hard tyres. He thought he might catch Speed Kai for some DRS, and Jovial Manti's off.
Oh, Jovial Manti's, he's made a right horlicks of that chicane there. Jovial Manti, he's actually disconnected. I think that's what's happened there. So Dan the Man gets a free position up into P9, and he's going to be chasing down the back of the Ferrari driver. Is Johners going to let his teammate go? He's on the soft tyres. Surely Johners is pitting this time round. And yes, he is. No, he isn't. And safety car! It's a safety car! It's Johners boxes! That is probably what he was waiting for. He was waiting for that safety car. And he boxes now. And he's going to go onto the soft tyres. Kai's in. Dan the Man's in as well. Anyone else pitted? Alistair into the box as well. I think everyone, basically, from Johners downwards, is probably going to box for soft tyres in this race. Jovial Manatee's disconnected, so that's where it is. Softy has probably got time to box, actually, I think, as well, and go onto the soft tyres. But yeah, that has turned this race upside down, hasn't it? And we're in for a grandstand finish. Probably about 2-3 laps to go here.
Well, Speed Kai will be absolutely delighted without getting off them old hard. So will Johners now. He could be in course for a good finish. Guys around him on the hards, they're going to be absolutely devastated. Trying to heat them up on a safety car restart is not fun on a Codemasters game at all.
No, I think the person to be ruining that the most is Jovial Manatee. As Jovial Manatee disconnected when it was a green flag, comes back and it's a safety car. And he's driven past the pit lane already, unfortunately for him.
Absolutely.
So is Softy going to box? No, he's going to stay out on those hard tyres. Cam, is he going to box? It'd be box roulette. We see Cam in, Confessor in. Is Machine Fishy going to box as well? Yes, he is. Hickman stays out. Hickman stays out on the hards. Dewan is going to box. Jovial Manatee, where is he? He's going to try and feed his way into the pit lane as well. They haven't called the safety car yet, so I think that has been okay. But Jovial Manatee is actually going to stay out on those hard tyres. He's going to rejoin. I think he's actually not going to gain anything, unfortunately. Maybe gain a place or two from Dewan and Machine Fishy. But that's about it. But yeah, Cam has boxed it onto the new softs. Confessor on new softs as well. And they're third and fourth, and they're going to be in the pound seat to make Hickey and Softy's life miserable, aren't they?
Well, I think Softy's going to be so happy that he's got a wee bit of a buffer and Jack Hickman behind him on the hards to maybe try hold up Cam and Confessor. But yeah, Softy couldn't really give it up. He has track position. He can't put unless he couldn't tell if the others were going to box or not. But Softy, he'll be delighted that Merck's just behind him.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a buffer. The only drivers that didn't stop under that safety car were Softy, Jack Hickman. Yeah, Softy, Jack Hickman, and Dom and Chiapelli, because Chiapelli pitted under the virtual safety car. But only Dom, Hickman, Jovial Manti and Softy didn't pit under the safety car there. So they're going to be fighting for their lives. It's not going to be many laps they're going to have to fight for. It's going to be 3 laps, I think, once the safety car peels itself in. It's not coming in this time round, Jack.
No, and it's going to be a nightmare for those guys that have stayed out to heat. You really get much warning around the Hungaro ring that the safety car is coming in. And I think the Softy, he'll be wanting the safety car to probably stay out until lap 24, don't you?
He'd want that. He wants the safety car just to stay there the whole race. He would love that, Softy, right about now. So, on lap number 22, 4 laps to go in this Grand Prix here, and here's a rundown of the order under the safety car. Softy is leading from Jack Hickman in second. They've got Cam in third, Confessor in fourth, and Jovial Manti in fifth. Machine Fishy in sixth, Big Boy Drew in the seventh, John is in eighth, and Speed Guy in ninth, and Dan the Man in 10th. Dom Smith in 11th, Luca Chiapelli in 12th, and they've got Alston in 13th, and Wet Lemons is rounding out the points at the moment in 14th. Court in 15th, Lewis Craig in 16th, and Matt Tibos in 17th. So we've got at the sharp end, the main things to worry about is Softy and Jack Hickman on old hards. They're on about 8 and 9 lap old hards. Cam and the Confessor on brand new soft tyres in this race. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out once the safety car peels into the pit lane.
Absolutely, these guys on the soft, you just see how fresh their softs are. I think there might be a few drivers complaining to their engineers and it might not box you, but this could be even crazier ending than Silverstone was.
Yes,
everyone trying to warm up those tyres.
Yeah, is the safety car in this time round? Yes, it is. So Softy is going to have to start backing up the pack. He needs a good launch on this restart. Thankfully, he's got the buffer of Jack Hickman behind him. But like you said, needs a good launch on the restart to have any hope of winning this Grand Prix.
Oh, his calms just hit the back of Jack Hickey. He might actually get a penalty for that. He's just done it again. I think he might have avoided it the second time, and I think the stewards have been a bit nice not giving Calm a penalty.
Softy is gone. Softy has launched it with a corner to go. He needs to get a good run out of this last corner, but Hickman is a real sitting duck. He's going to be struggling with cars behind him. Cam on those soft tyres, looking to the inside, going to try and get the move done on the run down to turn 1. Confessor's going to follow him through as well, I think. Yes, he is. Confessor's through as well. So Cam and Confessor up into P2. That's not what Softy wanted to see. Those two drivers dispose of Jack Hickman that quickly. Cam in the Ferrari is going to be flying on those soft tyres. So it's going to be all on Softy to try and hold on. Cam has got a penalty though. So it's really a race between the Confessor and Softy for the race victory, I would say.
Yeah, Joey Manti dropped a few places as well. I just don't think Jack Hickey had no idea Softy was going to go at that point. It was a beautiful restart, but look at the speed New Zealand Cam has. There's no way Softy can defend this.
No, there really isn't. It's through the twisty section. He's got very old hard tyres. The Confessor's just going to lurk in the background, I think. Softy getting very defensive into turn number 12. Cam looking to the outside. He's going to go round the outside. He's off the circuit. Confessor's going to try and follow him through. Cam just about gets the move done. He's in to lead the race. Confessor's going to try and sweep it round the outside of the final corner. That grip advantage is just too much. Softy can't handle it, and that's them. Softy down to P3. Machine Fishing flying up the order as well, but it's now going to be a race between the Confessor and Cam. Can Cam pull the gap that he needs? He needs about a 3-second gap, I believe. I'm just going to have a quick look at the penalties now. Yes, he is. He needs a 3-second gap. Is he going to be able to pull that? I don't think he is on the Confessor. Meanwhile, Softy is going to be having a fight of his life to try and hold off Machine Fishy. Everyone is just flying past the guys on the hard tyres. Those who didn't box, it's been a bit of a disaster call for them.
Oh, it's been a nightmare. Jack Hickey's down in 6th. Big Boy Ewan got him on the start-finish straight. And Confessor, he doesn't need to do too much now, does he? He just needs to hold off Softy, which shouldn't be too difficult under the circumstances, as Jack Hickey is side by side with Johners through out of the chicane, and he's got the position. Who's now in danger of being passed by Speed Car round the outside. Jack Hickey pushes him wide. These two guys will be in the stewards room later on tonight, I expect.
Oh, and there's a spin. There's a spin. Jovial Munsey's round. Dan the Man is through. And it was a bit optimistic. Yellow flags are waving. Machine Fishy all over the back of Softy as we start the final lap of the race. And Softy looking so comfortable in this Grand Prix. Doesn't even look like he's going to get a podium now. Those soft tyres, that call to stay on the hard tyres has really ruined his chances of getting a good result here. As we see, Machine Fishy puts himself up into the podium. He's up into P3 on the road now. I don't think he's going to be close enough to keep Cam. Meanwhile, Confessor has actually got past Cam on the road now. So the Confessor is now through.
He's pushed Ireland off, and Big Boy Ewan's up onto the podium.
Big Boy Duran up into the podium. It's all kicking off here. Safety car restarts bring this kind of action to the fans. As we see Machine Fishy all over the back of Big Boy Duran. He's going to want to get himself back onto that podium. They're not quite close enough to the back of Cam. They're outside that 3-second window, so this is a straight fight for the final podium spot as it stands. And Machine Softy is really struggling. Johners is flying on those soft tyres. Penalty there for Mr. Chiapelli. But the real battle is this battle for P3. The Confessor looks like he's going to win this Grand Prix. I don't think he's going to have enough Machine Fishy to get Big Boy Duran, but the Confessor coming around the final corner for the final time. 25 laps of the Hungary wing completed, and it's a win for the Confessor in the McLaren. Cam comes home in second place. Big Boy Duran is going to come home in third, and then Machine Fishy in fourth. Softy finishes fifth after dominating most of the Grand Prix. Johners only just finishes behind Softy, 7/100ths behind. Then we have Kai, Hickey, Dan the Man and Court rounding out the top 10. And that was a grandstand finish like we expected. Very strategies at the end, and Softy will be ruined not pitting under that safety car.
Oh, Softy dropped down to fifth. It was a nightmare for him. Speed Kai beat Jack Hickey by 900ths of a second to steal P7 from the Mercedes driver. But the Confessor, I think he would absolutely love the safety cars to return for the remainder of the season. What a finish to that race.
What a cracking finish. The Confessor picked up a victory at the Hungary ring. Cam comes home in second. And Big Boy Duran, what a result for him. Picking up third place here at the Hungary ring. Great result for the Aston Martin team. So the Confessor shaking hands, lifting the trophy and kissing babies.
Well, there's going to be a wee incident report coming in. I think the Machine Fishy, who got absolutely torpedoed by the Red Bull at turn 2 for the podium. I don't think he's going to be happy at all, but Softy just couldn't stop. The hards just had no grip on that final lap. And man, he might dropping from first to fifth. Softy's going to absolutely rue that.
Yeah, so here's a full rundown of the results. The Confessor wins for McLaren, followed by Cam in second, then Big Boy Duran in third. Machine Fishy in fourth, and then we have Softy in fifth, Johners in sixth, Kai in seventh, and then we have Jack Hickey in eighth, Dan the Man in ninth, and Court rounding out the top 10. Then we've got Alistair in 11th, Jovial Manti in 12th after that spin trying to get past Jack Hickman in that little squabble there. Dom Smith picks up another couple of points for himself in 13th. Matt Tibos in 14th. Chiapelli, Lewis Craig, Wet Levens, and then we have the two retirements of Dan the Man and Jack Pearson. So any final thoughts on those two races?
It was absolutely fantastic. The endings to the both Grand Prix were absolutely fantastic. Seeing a new winner and Softy's always nice, but Big Boy Ewan getting a podium, that's great to see. A guy that's kind of in the midfield at TGP1, but it's always nice when we see new guys on the free steps.
So that has been your two races in TGP1 tonight. Two absolute corkers for you. Grandstand finish in Hungary, and then just absolute palpitations is all I can say for Silverstone. Heart palpitations and a really exciting finish for the mid-table points. But that has been your two races, Britain and Hungary. We'll be back next week for Belgium and the Netherlands. But hopefully you did enjoy these two races. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on PS5.